Hello and welcome to day 9 of our Adventures in Tarot casting for the month of October 2025. This is my setup today. We are using the Prophet casting sticker, casting stage. And here's what this one looks like. And this is what it looks like in my book. I love this one. This was actually a revisit to one I had done years ago. I actually redrew the entire thing when I first got oh my goodness, when we first got our laser. I was really into just seeing everything that it could do. So I drew basically a praying mantis kind of in this vein with just symbols and all sorts of stuff. So I think maybe, I don't even think we ever ended up making anything out of that one, but I liked the idea and the concept, and I like how praying mantises are often tied to prophecy. They, due to their stillness and their ability to just take in all their surroundings and wait to strike. So as an oracle card, this can be a very powerful oracle card because of the fact that mantises do tell us to, you know, just be patient and be still, and what is meant for you will come, and when it's in your grasp, you'll be able to grab it. So for this particular demo, we are going to be using the Uncertain Oracle by Cedar McCloud, and I will link it in the notes. Just making sure that the guide thing is not in here. Sometimes it is. I must have set it aside. If not, it'll pop up and it'll be the thing. Never know. Never know with me what's going to happen. So we have the Uncertain Oracle, the JoySeeker Tarot, the 7th Sphere Lenormand, because there's placements on here for a regular size card, pocket card. So for the pocket cards, I thought it would be neat to use the Lenormand. We have tiny tiles, which are here, here, and here. And then the Oracle. This was one of the first intentional spreads that I started creating recently, where the design is drawn, like the card placements are drawn into the design. So they're very subtle, but they're there. And there's also 4 spots on the periphery that help us do guideposts and stuff. Or you can use them, you can omit them. If you don't feel like it, you could even add extras. Like you can use any placements on here as a position to add some sort of charms or crystals, whatever. I know I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. I may suggest a spread that goes with it, but ultimately the whole point of these is I want you to come to your casting stage with the mind to intuitively play. You know, there's no right or wrong way to do any of this. My suggestions are just simply that. They're just mine. Doesn't mean it's law, ever. But let's get into this one just so you can see how I personally would use it and how it goes along with the spread that does come with the sticker. So we have the first position is here, and this is the tarot card. And then the second is up here, and that's the oracle. So we're going to go in that order. And the JoySeeker Tarot is, I thought it would be cute to pair some decks with this that kind of have that nature feel and also complement the colors that are in the board. So the grab, this is the grab. This is what's in our sights. This is the focus and the goal. So this is basically what the prophet is focused on. You know, maybe this is the point of meditation. This is some really thick card stock. I've gotten so spoiled with my new decks, the Felt Tarot and the Rider-Waite, that I don't want thick cards anymore. It's hard to shuffle. So we have the Knight of Wands. Look at how pretty that is. And it also looks like a butterfly, so it's something that the prophet would definitely be grabbing for. So the Knight of Wands, the goal. So maybe as a goal position, since it is one of the Royal Arcana, it could be talking about our actions, the things, the motivations. So that's what our sights are on, is like what motivates us, what calls us to action. And then we have up here, you know, it could be that part of you that maybe you're trying to figure out why I'm not going to say triggered, but triggered. Like, what motivates you to move your feet and fly away and want to go and go out into the world, you know? So this is the atmosphere, which is going to be like the overall energy. And this is energetic message and help from source. So this could help us understand what it is that's motivating us. And we've got slow, which is so good. It pairs so well. And see, you don't need to use a round deck, but it is an opportunity to use a round deck because of the big sun feel of it. I love that the slowness is being told when the Knight of Wands is what our focus is. It's like that impulsivity, right? So slow is telling us whatever is motivating you, allow the slowness to happen. Take it slow. The Prophet is literally being like, be still, wait to strike, because that is how you're going to come out on top, right? So then we enter the tiny tiles, and I'm using my tiny felt tarot. Move that out of the way. And the third eye here, which is the center, and see how like it's colored a little different, so the green makes up the card placement there. So the third eye, this is your eyes on the prize and how to trust and acquire the goal. So this is the energy needed for that. And we have the Empress. The Empress is also saying, you know, especially in the fact of the Knight of Wands, like to motivate you. In order to understand that, you have to understand what it is that you're trying to create before you do it, what it is you're bringing into this world. Instead of acting before you're thinking, it seems like there needs to be like this flow of both. So the third eye is saying, it's going to happen. Keep your eye on the prize. And just trust that you've already set it into creation. And even though it might be going slower than this Knight of Wands would take it, because the butterfly, you know, they can sit and sip on that nectar, and then, but they can also take flight pretty quick when it needs to be. And so then 4 and 5, we're going to put on the sides. I'm going to grab 2. These are the periphery, and these are how to stay calm, be still, be patient while we wait for the creation that we're waiting for. And so we have the Fool and the Ace of Cups. And those right here, see how they land in there. And the Fool is saying, yes, this is the adventure, but you still need to be still. You have to wait. You're going out. You're creating the world. The opportunity is yours. The Ace of Cups is showing us that it is overflowing, you know. But I always feel like anything that happens in a slow, methodical approach, so it's almost like the Knight of Wands is being told with all these other energies to embrace more of the Knight of Pentacles, you know, like being like, hey, your mind and your actions might be ready to take flight, but this is still a new adventure. You know, there's still other opportunities pouring in, and it's being created. It just takes a little bit more time. And this could also be going on behind the scenes before you're ready to take flight, because we know that this is what our focus is on, is doing the thing, going out, running into the burning buildings, you know. And so in order to get to that point, this is all the information that's being gathered, you know. So now I'm going to use the 7th sphere Lenormand as the left and the right wing. And this is what helps us have balance and momentum, because both wings are needed in order to fly straight, to fly directly, you know. And so you can use this as like a 2-card Lenormand reading, or you could use them individually with the tarot and with all the other cards. Like, I like to, like, when I lay them out, I like to see how each thing, each card or system plays in with the other thing and adding different messages. It really feels more like a conversation that's unfolding. So you could be like, well, what would the Fool say to this Knight of Wands? What would the Ace of Cups say to this Knight of Wands? Maybe Empress and the Fool are discussing the actions of the Knight of Wands over a drink. You know, like you see different layers that come out with the symbolisms that are happening. And for me personally, adding them all in, you know, if I'm doing just a tarot reading, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But like I said, I like to use a lot of the tools that I have. So when I'm doing all this, it allows me to use the decks and the systems that I have acquired. It also helps me keep my intuition practiced, exercised, and it helps to expand upon the dialogue, you know, because it's almost like in this world we speak thousands and thousands of languages, you know, and there's no only one right way. So this reminds us that we're allowed to bring in all different viewpoints. Even if we don't fully understand them yet, we can learn, right? So we have the garden and the lily, and together those are telling us how to keep the balance and the momentum. And the balance is saying, well, the Knight of Wands, are they acting on behalf of their community? Is this something that's like going to a meeting place? What is it that, you know, they're showing up for? And then the lily, and I see the garden and the lily together, it could literally just be like a garden party, right? The lily, though, coming in is saying, as long as your virtues and your like patient, and just whenever I see those together, I think about, especially in this context of the Knight of Wands, it literally looks like the butterfly is flying to the lily. But I see this more as like another layer of being slow and taking patient and, you know, showing up exactly on time. And it might be a little bit longer than we want it to be, right? So that would be one way to read it. If we want to come in with some elements, these, like I said, could be dice, crystals, charms, etc. I'm going to use the buttons. These are attributes that are aligning in order to make sense of everything and know that the moment is right to strike. So it's like once these things come into alignment, it's all like the stones have been lit up, you know that it's okay to act upon the momentum. I have four in my hand, and we have communicate, inspire, grief, and discern. Whew. And to see those as the attributes that are aligning could also say, look, we need to communicate the grief. We need to inspire and also while discerning. So it seems like the process has to be a slower approach because there's things that could be triggering us that are not yet resolved. So that's where the grief comes in, right? And then the discernment, or to discern, is to be able to critically think, to be able to look at a situation and possibly see all different outcomes. And the Knight of Wands wants to just run into that burning building, wants to take flight, but they have to understand that this is bigger than them. This is this garden, the community that we're in. It's been like this for a long time. It didn't happen overnight. The lily sometimes can show us that it could be outside forces of our elders, you know. So yes, we need to run in to fix it, but we have to know that the best methodical approach is a slow one. So we need to communicate and inspire through our communications. The Fool tells us that this is the start of something new. This is the prophet also bringing in the layer of the background, the prophecy, that this is the world that we are creating. This is the situation, and it takes time. And I love that the Empress is there in the middle because she's literally saying, everything that we do is spilling out and rippling out into this world, and we're creating it, right? So it's just a new adventure, and a lot of us might feel like this Knight of Wands right now, wanting to just take action and not know where to put it. So in order to do that, we need to slow our rolls, communicate what we need, inspire, you know, go with those guideposts. Again, like this, I love doing that, like doing another summation, because somehow talking it through always seems to just come together, right? Which is why I say to record your readings. I'm going to say that every time. I personally have this little shelf set up above my desk, and I have a clamp arm for my phone, and it just goes right down, and I can record my space, and then I can rewatch it and be like, oh, wow, I don't even remember saying that. So that is the Prophet. That is this guy. Yay. Let's see what we're working with tomorrow for day 10. Our pile is getting a little bit thinner, which is good. We're a third of the way through the month. And for the 10th, we have the Calico Dreams. This one is a spider-based board, so that'll be what we're working with tomorrow, the Calico Dreams. I'm excited to pair some spooky decks with this one. If that kind of creeps you out, you might not want to tune in, but I assure you that this comes from a very nice place of inspiration and creativity and from the world of my dreams. So stay tuned tomorrow to find out about that story. Like and subscribe, tell your friends, and let me know your thoughts. And have you worked with this sticker? Let me know how it works for you and any epiphanies you may have had. And I will be here tomorrow with Calico Dreams. See you then. Bye.